the modern market, although they did previously. But that's why we have the advanced trading section to get readers up to speed on the state of the art overview of perpetual exchanges. Like most of the trades we've covered, perpetual arbitrage has a statistical element to it. In fact, it's not even technically a pure arbitrage and is counted as a statistical arbitrage, although it relies on mechanical forces which pull assets back together. Unlike a purely statistical trade, here are effectively betting on the convergence of two perpetual contracts likely cross-exchange. It mimics pairs trading in the regard that we have some entry threshold for the spread and an exit thread, usually the mean. And similarly, we use methods from pairs trading to time this spread. In the below sketch, we can see the cross exchange prices of two Solana perpetuals on different exchanges. So cross exchange PXs of Solana perps. Can you explain? Sure thing. The ORC wing model and the SSVI model are both popular methods for fitting options in cryptocurrency markets. There you go, dude. After seeing this, give the fellow a shot. Hear what he's all about, Mr. B Skipster says. Uh, One, how have previous... I'm going to go ahead and copy this question. Put in all your questions you have for Homeboy. All your questions you have for Homeboy, and I might bring him on. I might bring him on, dude. I want to keep reading through some of this stuff with you, and if you have questions, just throw them in the chat. Give the fellow a shot. Hear what he's all about. I want to hear your questions, dude. Mr. B, thank you, dude. Throw your questions in. If we get enough questions, I'll bring them on. If we don't have enough questions, I'm not gonna bring them on. I'm not gonna waste our time. How have previous experiences with the options trading influenced the author's current understanding of market dynamics? Okay. I'm gonna list all your questions and we'll try to get all of them answered. Any info would be great. Which site? This is algos.org. Thank you so much for all these links, dude. I'm gonna save all of these here and read through, or not read all of them, but
No, it's what's
skim
called
them.
machine learning.
See which ones are dope.
So you find things that are predictive. You might guess, oh, such and such should be predictive, might be predictive, and you test it out in the computer, and maybe it isn't, maybe it isn't.
Maybe it
you
is,
test
maybe
it
it
out
isn't.
on long-term historical data and price data and other things, and then you add to the system this if it works, and if it doesn't, you throw it out. So there aren't elaborate equations, at least not for...
Three things that are important to notice are perpetuals use different quoting assets, USD versus USDC. The OKX perpetual trades consistently higher than the Binance perpetual. They are strongly tied to one another. Our first and second observations both tie into each other. The consistency and the price difference can be any of the three causes: stablecoin differences, USDC, USD, structural differences, contract differences. With stablecoin driven differences, we can easily adjust by tracking the prices of different stablecoins, and with contract differences, we can investigate how different the contracts between two exchanges are manually. We will explore the contract normalization as a topic soon. Finally, our differences may be entirely structural and related to the specific flows that occur on each platform. Whilst theories as to many vary, it's no secret that certain exchanges simply trade higher relative to others, likely because of how their indexes are constructed. There's also differences in their basis volatility due to how the indexes are constructed. A good proxy of this is the closeness to a total share of total market volume that the index covers. An index made of Bybit OKX and Binance will be very stable. But if it's driven entirely by an exchange's own spot market, especially a smaller exchange, when we divide the two assets by another, we get the spread ratio. This is useful for timing as it's a lot more normalized between assets, but is not directly tradable. Trade opportunity here, spread ratio. Okay, so when the spread ratio has an anomaly, that's the trade opportunity. Okay. What we can actually trade is the difference, where we subtract the price from of one asset from another, stablecoin basis. As we touched on earlier, the first step of normalizing our spreads is to account for stablecoin basis. The price of stablecoins, much like the perpetuals, varies by exchange, so we need to normalize based on this. If the exchange has the stablecoin market pair listed, then it'll be best to use this. In the event of depegging, we will want to switch off the system, so it's critical that the system has an edge ratio scenario for this. Otherwise, we may end up betting on the debag due to large discrepancies in stablecoin prices cross-exchange. This is not because the debag will cause the prices to be different, since we would of course have adjusted for this, but because during a depeg the prices vary drastically. We can look at Coinbase, which got a low of 93 cents on the dollar when USDC depegged, whereas the other exchanges only depegged for a few cents. KuCoin also depegged a lot more than others. Hence, unless we adjusted for the exchange-specific prices of stablecoins, instead of trying to apply some global price, we would have seen a basis between perpetuals that was a bet on USDC. Even if we did manage to adjust well, there's a good chance we would have still needed to monitor the system because of the significant variance introduced by the stablecoin basis. It's also worth remembering that some exchanges will write USDC or USD on the ticker symbolism, but when you read the documentation, they're marking it against USDC or USDT. There may also be USDC, USDT, and USD perpetuals for the same asset on a given exchange, and you can usually use the ratio between these to get an idea of the exchange specific rate for stablecoins. If one is not present, you can only use this proxy if the contracts settle the same way and have the same funding payment specifications. They don't always. Sometimes the USD ones are coin margined, and I've seen coin margined have different funding intervals to stablecoin margin perpetuals before. Normalization of contracts, converting perpetual prices from one venue like Binance to another, such as Bybit, OKX, or Hyperliquid, is complex. Using Binance's perpetual prices directly is not optimal, especially for platforms with shorter perpetual durations, like hourly ones on DEXs. This is because perpetual prices tend to converge towards the spot price in a pattern that resembles descending stairs until a funding payment occurs, which then causes a jump. We don't want to make trades that get us into a bad position on funding payments. An alternative approach of relying solely on spot prices is also flawed. It may lead to imbalanced positions favoring underperforming coins while shorting the surging ones. A potential solution is to clean the perpetual prices from a platform like Binance by accounting for accrued but unpaid funding payments, adjusting for rate differences, and then subtracting the accrued coupon for the specific platform you're converting to. This method is only moderately effective due to various challenges. Different indices used across platforms can lead to discrepancies, especially during volatile market conditions. There are limits on how high funding payments can go, which vary by exchange. Funding rates change frequently, affecting the conversion due to the nonlinear nature of the common funding formulas. Practical implementation issues such as determining accrued funding payments and adjusting for rate differences, considering the intricacies of funding rates formulas. The closest approach to a practical solution involves taking Binance's perpetual prices, adjusting the accrued funding payments and rate differences, and then recalculating the funding payments. However, there's no one size fits all formula for this, and you'll turn off specific exchange pairs or increase their entry thresholds in your system to try to counter this. An effective strategy involves analyzing data to understand how funding payments evolve relative to premiums and devising cross-venue adjustments based on empirical evidence. This should include models for predicting how spot